Gina.
Okay, we're ready. You get to run the meeting, Kevin.
We can start?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'd like to call to order the April 14th meeting of the City of St. Louis Board of Adjustments. Roll call, please.
Gwen Monto, Samantha Wacker. Here. Jason Pellin.
Here.
Kevin Creedy.
Here.
Mark Scornia.
Here.
Sarah Skeen.
Here.
All right. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, our packets contain the minutes from the March 10th meeting.
Motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
A second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Against? All right, approved. All right, I guess our only order of business today is file number 25-0403, 2108 East Fifth Street. Applicant is requesting a variance to allow stormwater gutter downspout drain to extend to city curb and gutter.
Okay, so I have a slide presentation, but this is actually stormwater code, not planning and zoning code. I'm not, as well versed as our city engineer, so Charles Stankovic will take the argument for what the code is and what we allow, the reason why we changed our code. So, Charles.
Yeah, so last May, we had new stormwater code updates. In there included a code that gutter downspouts have to be daylit at least 5 feet back of the property line. So you can't take them to the curb and gutter anymore. I mean, they even have to be 5 feet back from the property line to promote infiltration during like low, rain events, stuff like that. So that's been our new thing. So no new connections. If you already have an existing connection to the street, you can continue that, but no new connections into the curb and gutter. Lots of different things you can do. Put a little splash pad down there, directed away from your foundation. They've got different devices. You can do a rain garden. You can do
That's for the next meeting.
rain barrels, lots of different things, or pop-ups. So you can see the site there. The next slide shows with the house property to run. You can see the downspouts right now are just a couple feet from the foundation out of a pipe. So you can see where they have to connect to the city street.
Can you explain a little bit more? You said the different options for how to deal with the stormwater. Can you explain a little more about what those options are and relative cost?
Relative cost, yeah, so you've seen downspouts where they just have the little plastic, splash pad where it basically just shoots it out a couple feet from the foundation. Those are probably a couple bucks at a hardware store. They have the ones where the hoses roll up when there's no rain, and then when the rain comes, they unfold and push it away from the foundation a little bit. Again, I don't know what the cost would be, but guessing $10 to $20 or something like that.
So that equipment is something that anybody could obtain at a hardware store that doesn't require the homeowner to hire an engineer and do a stormwater plan?
No, definitely not. No.
Okay. What were the other options that you mentioned?
You could do a rain barrel. That's probably got like a cost of like $50 to $100. You could buy them. You can make one. You could do a rain garden where you just do plantings and stuff to kind of direct the water there, so that it's got a spot to go and infiltrate into the ground. You could just, the applicant right now wants to put it underground in a pipe and take it all the way out to the curb. You could just disconnect it 5 feet back from the property line and put a pop-up that you can buy at the store as well. Yes, water does sit in the line a little bit there, but lots of people have pop-ups.
4 or 5 of
So,
them around my yard. So,
Yeah.
I'm seeing it a lot in the newer subdivisions where they have the pop-up emitters. So, Charles, some other things that I know have to do with stormwater, et cetera. For example, some pumps used to be allowed to go to the curb or would run to the curb or would run, probably even worse than that, into the sanitary sewer. Do you know when that changed?
when that changed.
Yeah,
I couldn't tell you exactly when that
Okay.
changed, but I mean.
but it's
they-
been a while.
Yeah, they shouldn't be running to the sanitary for sure.
Right.
And then this would follow with that. I mean, back in May is when we said you can't, connect to the curb and gutter anymore.
Okay.
So are these changes part of the city's agreement with the state to address their stormwater?
Yes, this is all to be in compliance with our MS4,
Okay,
with
and
DNR
Okay.
and all that.
Charles, when was the building permit issued for this structure, if you know?
It's a good question, but I know it was after those codes went into effect.
Okay, so the codes were in effect as they were at the time that the building permit was issued?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, any other questions for
Questions
Charles?
for me?
I don't think so.
All right, can we take public comment, or anybody want to speak in favor or against this?
I'm the owner.
Sure.
Putting a splash pad there is not really satisfactory.
Can you
because I-
state your name just for
Yeah.
the
Oh,
record,
yes,
so that
my
we're
name is
clear?
Michael Durner. I'm the owner of the property in question.
Yeah.
A splash pad doesn't really work very well because it doesn't project the water far enough. The water will come back, and I'm afraid it will infiltrate down through the soil to the foundation and into the basement, causing potential water damage. And the pop-up emitter is a concern because it's likely going to hold water, or it's more likely to clog. As debris enters the system from the top, it can't really exit as easily, the minor debris. And could clog up, and then it would back up and be depositing all the excess water right next to my foundation. And additionally, I purchased this property in 2020, so I don't know if there's any grandfather clause that could be applied here, since I owned the property before the new laws went into effect.
I wouldn't think so, especially when, it's based on, as the codes get adjusted, obviously, we gotta meet new codes to get that done, but, the pop-up emitters, like I said, I got 3 or 4 from my yard, you'd be surprised what that thing will pass on a heavy rain. You'll get, all the little gravel pieces off your shingles on top of your house come flying out of there a pretty good amount after a good rain. It is something you definitely have to watch. I don't have a lot of trees around my house, but if you have a lot of trees, I'm saying that would be a concern. I think in this case, it doesn't appear to be immediately adjacent to the house, but it's like anything else at your house, it's something you gotta maintain and make sure it works.
Sir, have you explored some of the other options that Charles was talking about, like the rain garden, rain barrel, things of that nature?
No, I feel a rain barrel would be rather unsightly on the front of my house, especially being that it's on a major thoroughfare. The splash pad really doesn't push the water far enough away, and when we discussed this earlier, he discussed a pop-up emitter, which was, I thought, the primary means.
Okay.
And I really don't have a lot of slope to properly daylight a pipe on there, because it will leave a large trough opening there that somebody could twist their ankle in. So it's a falling hazard, and the sitting water could freeze in the wintertime, rupture the pipe, and in the summertime, it could become a breeding ground for mosquitoes, creating a public health hazard.
Anybody else have any questions? All right, thank you. Any discussion amongst the council?
I don't know if there's anybody else that wanted to speak, or we've got other folks in the audience.
This also is a common feature in the neighborhood, many houses down from me, so
Yes.
it's in keeping with the neighborhood appearance. And I don't really see the harm of 1 or 2 more cutouts. I mean, if approved, I would hire a contractor to cut the curb, and then I'd put a pipe in and then patch it over with concrete.
Yeah, the problem becomes the MS4 permit with the state and the requirements the city has to go through in order to address overall storm drainage conditions. I mean, obviously yours is one house, but there's hundreds of houses going up in subdivisions around the city that could come in and make the same request.
Well, but I'm one house in an established neighborhood.
Right.
I'm not building dozens of houses in a new settlement, in a new subdivision.
Correct.
Understood.
Thank you. Anybody else? Any discussion amongst the group?
Did you say what the staff recommendation was? Did I miss that?
I will defer to Charles. I don't want to speak for Charles. I personally feel like we shouldn't go back. We need to go forward. If we have
Okay.
somebody like DNR saying these are your requirements as a city, then we start upholding those requirements.
Follow the code.
Yeah,
follow the
that's
code.
staff recommendation, follow the code.
Okay, thank you.
Just from an engineering standpoint, I mean, I agree. Obviously, one house is not gonna make a huge difference here and there anywhere, but you're also talking about an established neighborhood that has an existing drainage path that you're now putting more water into that necessarily wasn't there before, right? So you're changing an existing condition, whereas on our new subdivisions, they could be designed to address that in a different manner, so.
It becomes an enforcement issue then too, if you allow one.
Right.
You know, the code is the code, and if you allow one, then how can another developer say, well, I have that same situation, why do I have to do it?
I agree.
All right, we ready to vote?
I'm ready.
You could read the ordinance, please?
Do you have it?
have it.
You have it? Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't have it. I'll read it.
I thought I had it. Hold on. Here it is. You're welcome.
Okay. You ready? Whereas the board does find and determine that the property in question located at 2108 East Fifth Street is within the city limits of the city of Washington and is located in an R1A single-family residential zoning district. And whereas City Code Section 420.065D gutter downspout disconnect, and whereas the applicant is requesting a variance from these requirements by proposing to extend personal gutter downspout drain into the city right-of-way and into the curb and gutter. Now therefore be it resolved that the request to extend personal gutter downspout drain into city right-of-way, into the curb and gutter hereby granted, provided that all other ordinances and regulations of the city of Washington are met. The city engineer is hereby directed to allow the connection to the city's curb and gutter in accordance with this resolution of decision. Jason Pellin,
No.
Kevin Creedy,
No?
Mark Scornia,
Nay.
Samantha Wacker.
Nay.
Okay. Boards reached their decision. Thank you.
That resolution's failed.
Yep.
Sorry about that, but
Yep.
obviously moving forward, we've got, at some point, there's gotta be a break line to switch it over, and you happen not to meet it.
Well, and
So-
the burden of compliance, just, you know, it's not a heavy enough burden.
All right, any other discussions? Otherwise, I'll accept a recommendation to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you.
Mark?
Mr. Scornia, how are you?
Great, great, good to see you, buddy. Mark?